just gonna poor innocent AI. And then probably switch to the race map and have awful collateral collisions and whatnot. But it's it always happens. Like they always get like one shot. And for once, my bitrates are actually stable. Usually in the beginning they're unstable, then they stable, but they're just normally stable.
No way. Possible.
Do you have stable bit rates? Whatnot?
Yes.
Are you sure? Is Cammy still upset about not getting his Halo?
Yes.
Like, probably. I'm willing. Even though he pretended to not care earlier in the month. It's like, he was talking about how what they're gonna test is like, yeah, we're just gonna test like the store and we're gonna test like to make sure it's function. It's like, it sounds boring. He said that he probably wouldn't bother if even testing it. Now that he's not gonna test, he got upset, and then he calmed down. I don't know what's exactly going on. I don't think Cammy knows.
Cammy never knew.
Okay, all the ships are. Although, if you are making your Sempit or Tryout stuff, you should probably ask just like in the Sempit channel, because I'm sure like you'll get general advice. Someone might have like done something similar to what you want to do already, and they'd actually have like more specific advice. Whatnot.
Yeah, I'm just looking for general, like, just some general stuff I've been searching around.
Like, I mean, heck, you could probably put a picture of like what your setup looks like now, and you'll probably get a bunch of advice just from that.
Okay.
People say it's like they might even ask for measurements. It's like, how wide is your desk surface? How much room do you have from like your floor to the bottom of your desk? Is like, do you have like a flat desk or like a thick desk that has true? Isn't that like cause a complication?
Hey, VR is pretty cool, but I like to be able to see my area, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Instead of having a magic brick on my face.
I'm glad that like the VR, it was close to getting heated, but thankfully it did, because then I would have had to do some work that's related to moderating. Isn't what I wanted to do. Because it was like the one guy where it's like VR is basically non-negotiable for him. It's like if they don't have VR, he just doesn't care. Yeah, I can see that. It's like being a frame rate person. It's like once you like get used to a higher frame rate, anytime a game doesn't support it, you just like usually could not care less about that game.
Seems like I've been reading more, like some min-maxers are getting interested in the game.
Oh yeah, I think people were talking about min-maxing. It's like, I mean, it's not I assume that's mostly people who are used to Elite. It's like, it's not exactly as hard to min-max than 100net. Like, at all. It's like you have 3 options for your loadouts. It's like, if you want the most health, it's like, well, you take 2 holes and then 1 weapon, and that's the meta for being tanky, basically. It's no more complicated than that.
Yeah, I like this. I like how it's pretty simple. Actually, playing this game has got me interested in World War II planes. I never paid attention to that stuff, and then somehow the algorithm must have picked up on something, and I was watching
Yeah,
a video
actually.
on some old, what was, not sure the names, something 47 and 52.
Yeah, probably the P-47 Thunderbolt. Probably.
Yeah. It's pretty neat though. I never really thought about it. I'm a car guy, but I never thought about those old planes.
Oh, especially the old planes are like, because they're mostly just piston-driven engines for props. Is like they're weirdly kind of similar to like if you're a car guy and you're into like, you know, the more simple cars. Not even the modern ones, which are all suck and bad and they're burdened by technology, but like, you know, the classic sports cars that
Right.
all cool and rugged and just made to perform, and that's it. It's like those.
Yeah, it's pretty wild.
Like the new ones are only for people who like care about like only the performance and nothing much else. It's like they don't want to get into like the petrol style, perpetually tinkering with your car forever because it's a 30-year-old thing that's been driven for 100,000 miles at least. It just wants to constantly have minor engine.
Mine are all old British.
Also, I know in Britain as well, is like they actually tax if you have older sports cars that get terrible NPG. Is like you get like really taxed, where people don't even like, to where it's like ruining the sell value of like old Jaguars. Where you can't like, you think you'd sell them for like a good amount because it's, you know, nice classic car, but it's like no one wants to buy them, so you have to price them really low. It's like, it's a little lazy. Because I know a lot of areas do tax breaks if you have like either an electric car or like a car with like a certain NPV or higher. Which I think makes more sense. Because it offsets the, you know, usually the higher price that those cars have to like buy in the first place. I think that makes more sense.
I'm interested in electric cars. I'm just wondering what it's going to look like large scale, like from an environmental and resource standpoint.
Yeah, well, it's like, it's relying on like the actual energy grid. It's like how much of the grid is gonna be, you know, non-renewables, which are basically as bad to burn, if not worse, than like burning gas in your car. Even for like, when you normalize all the energy.
Somehow the algorithm on YouTube, the insane engineering of the P-47 Thunderbolt came up, and I watched that. Thought that was pretty fascinating. So I guess I'm gonna have to research all the other ones.
Yeah, probably the P-51, because that, when that plane was made, they figured out like several things when they designed. Some of it by accident. Like, I think the air intake on it was a great example, where typically an air intake on an aircraft would slow it down if you put one on. But for whatever reason, how they designed it, the air intake was actually improving the top speed of the plane, of how the aerodynamics were with it. So
this video was talking about on the P-50, the P-47, like somehow it's like some water alcohol mixture going in for the boost.
mm-hmm.
It's cool, the pistons and stuff. Anyway, it's a whole new direction for me to look at, quote unquote, research. YouTube.
Then you have like World War I planes, which are like suicidally dangerous and can barely fly. And people were doing dogfights in those.
Niagara Falls, right?
I mean, as far as I know, to start with, there wasn't any mounted guns in the planes. You had to pull out a sidearm and try to shoot at another plane, and basically nothing ever got shot down. I think maybe one plane got shot down by a pistol round at some point. or at least hit by it. I still don't even think that there was ever no confirmed kill of like a pilot using a sidearm to shoot down a plane during like World War I. I don't think there's any confirmed kill. It might have happened. It's like we don't know. And they start putting like mounted, you know, light machine guns, mounting them, just like wherever it would shoot off the propeller, because they didn't make any fancy interrupted gear mechanism to allow synchronized shots to pass through the propeller blade. Wasn't until like World War II, I believe, or at least like shortly before.
The reason I found this game was just trying to find more games to use my host sauce on. Because before this, I was playing like what's that Descent game? Overload.
Oh yeah, I played that one.
But there's not too much out there. I mean, aside from Star Citizen and
Yeah, besides like
Elite
the
Dangerous.
games you already know about, there's not much.
I just couldn't get into Elite. I mean, like, I don't know. I like how I just hopped right into this game. I was like, okay, I can play this right now.
Elite's a really big time sink is like the main issue. It's like, it's hard to play Elite just to have fun for like, I don't know, 1 or 2 hours. Usually you're going on Elite because you want to chip away at like some grinding you have to do.
That's what I like about what Fernando's doing with this. It's like you can still hop in and do a quick mission, but you're still contributing to the larger story.
And the main reason like PvP is pretty, you know, decently popular in Elite is because most of the PvPers have gotten to the point where they're mostly able just to get on the game, get a few friends, and then go do something, instead of having to grind something else out. It's like they've already done most of the grinding, and they already have a few, you know, loadouts that they have stored, so they can, you know, switch between stuff whenever they want. So, for them, it's like, they go on Elite to do PvP, and they're like a smaller part of the player base that's at that point where they can do that, and then the rest of the player base either just doesn't care about PvP, or they're still like want to like change like something on their ship where they just need to grind it out for like as long as it ends up taking, which is usually a long time relative to other games.
So when's that fundraiser probably gonna come out, isn't it?
I'm
It's in
thinking
September, I think?
there's, I believe it was like the second week of August, I think was,
Oh,
because Fernando did say it on like his last discussion. I think I remember him saying the second week of August. He wanted it to be the first week of August, but that's when Amanda's going on vacation, so he'd rather have everyone like available to, you know, work on it instead of like doing it if not everyone being on the same page. Apparently I have excellent bit rates instead of okay bit rates now. That's even better. Well, bitrate maintenance. I mean, I've just heard that like already there's been you know, great excellent progress towards like getting some of the, you know, basic boring stuff that doesn't like result in any like gameplay for like the future plans for the game. Like when like you're first making an FPS and you finally get like hit registration to work. It's like that's like the kind of stuff that's getting solved right now. It's like, wow, you got hit reg to work. It's like no one would care because it's like, well, I can't do anything with it. Play. It's like very important for like having the game like exist in the.
you're fairly new to gaming, so this is pretty. It's kind of fun to find this one. Oh, there's no no heal shit.
I mean, I'm somewhat new to PC gaming. I've only been on a PC for, I don't know, 2 years. Maybe 3 years now. Oh, well, and 3 years on a decent PC. And probably many years on terrible laptops that I never played games on. And if I did, they were, like, running at 360p if I couldn't get it that low as a resolution. I had really bad computers back then. And then I would just play on console for like any games they were very cheap, basically. In reason.
It's doing the cockpit themes difficult to do. Changing reticles and stuff like that.
Do like the rock. Very fun one. Oh, also, if you happen to have any questions about, like, HunterNet, no matter what it is, I should be able to help. If not, I need to be fired from being allowed to teach people in HunterNet, essentially.
Wow.
Yeah, that's what Fernando said. Maybe. I don't remember what he said exactly. It'd be like you not knowing, like, what weapons are, like, okay in drone, whatever. Like, oh yeah, the beam lasers, yeah, they're really bad, actually. I used them once and killed nothing, so they're automatically. People be like, what are you talking about? Make no sense.
Some higher sensitivities on my stick. It's actually pretty nice.
You got it dialed in well. I am starting to think that with rockets, if you fight a gat, you just need to, like, survive. Else, you're actually playing defensively. But against flak, you're weirdly being aggressive for whatever reason.
So there's no heal station.
There is on the friendly battleship if you land in the hangar and come to a complete stop. Unlike the the above section on top, you can heal up to, like, back to full action. That's, like, marked by, like, the square on your HUD. It's yellow by default, and then based on your HUD colors it might change. Although for free for all, it's going to be in the center of the map, and then any battleship, if you go on the top, you can land and repair. And then the other maps, I think one map, the hydrogen station, it has it where you need to go inside one of the 2 tunnels, and there's a small area that you can repair it, and then the racing and empty maps are like the only places that don't have any pairing areas. I believe. They hid one in, and I never found them. Maybe it's at the end of the pipes. The holy hole. Alright, so I think after this free-for-all, I'm gonna switch to the racing map. And I think I mostly want to do practice laps. Unless we want to start at the same time and do it as a race. I'd also do that. Options. Yeah. I mostly just want to do practice laps where it's like, yeah, start the race whenever, fly to like a section that you hate in the race and do it 5 times over until you can actually do that part of the race. Whatever. Very loose. I think that.
Hey guys,
Hello, Fernando.
how's it going?
Yeah, I'm streaming right now, so you know.
Wait,
Going
streaming
good.
Hunter or you're streaming on
Hunter
Twitter?
Nets, yeah.
Just clicked on your HunterNet link.
I believe Daze is doing, probably playing Ultra Kill, and he's probably modding it, not playing it.
Yep,
Anything.
I'm watching the stream right now. Cool, cool. I love the overlay that you added in the last stream, by the way.
Yeah, I think 2 people have already copied it that are friends.
Oh, nice.
I stole it.
Nice.
And then I think Crown's about to steal it.
Nice.
I don't know if he's gonna get deep in streaming, so.
Well, it's just when he does.
When
he
I saw you stream with this overlay, you were doing the racing, and I was like,
Yeah.
well, how come he's only pressing 1 button? HunterNet has Craze Government been killing us with a single, with just left mouse and right mouse.
Yeah,
What the hell? Then of course you were talking about what you were doing, and you said you were trying to beat it with the only power burn, right?
yeah, as much as possible. I think there was probably 2 sections where it's like, never using the string. I should practice flying combat with only power.
Yeah, well next time you're kicking our butt, I'll say, okay, you can only use power burn, and I'll have Days, there's Renzo.
Yeah, you're
Renzo.
downgraded to a 1 DOF. Well, not even a 1 DOF, you're...
half a DOF.
Yeah.
Only forward.
Well, you get pitch
Well, you
yaw.
still have the rotating, so that's half a DOF is the forward axis going forward, and you got pitch and yaw, so that's 2, you know, it's 2.5 degrees of freedom out of the 6.
Pretty decent against the AI.
Yeah.
Just do big sweeping.
Yeah. Little Dragon says Gunman is amazing. No pips, but hits every single shot. It's like magic. Yeah, he just missed his shot.
Yeah, I miss shots
Yeah.
like a lot.
He still
If it's
misses, but-
players, I miss shots a lot.
But he hits more shots without pips than I hit with pips. That's true. That's pretty amazing.
The only problem with power burn only is like mentioned. It's like, well, you don't. That means you technically can't use the brake either because that's not power burn only. It's the only real flaw. Is like it's like racing, and like in a good race, you need the brake like all the time.
Yeah. Yeah.
From my limited knowledge of racing.
Oh, we can start with power burn, pitch and yaw. And we can add additional degrees of freedom until it's just the right level of difficulty. Do you think you can beat me with only power burn, pitch and yaw, and a gun?
We could try. Maybe.
That would be interesting.
Strife's back.
I'm thinking for this week's build, I'm gonna buff silent running a little bit.
Oh,
Make it a little bit easier to use it in combat.
interesting.
Has anybody been really using it much for combat?
I
Like, to
haven't.
make it harder for the other people.
Well, I haven't noticed, but no, because of name flashes, so I would notice that. I haven't seen anyone use it, basically.
Well, the name doesn't flash anymore for that. The name flashes when your
Oh.
energy's low.
Okay, well, then I wouldn't notice anyway because I don't use pips. So if someone was using silent running, I would never
Yeah,
have
you
known.
would have noticed. Yeah, you would
Old
have known.
I'd say like do it like we have what the drone with the repairing stuff that ramps up over time. So it's silent running. So like if you're out of combat for X amount of time, you automatically enter silent running.
No, we want it to be like the module. That was kind of like how the old one worked, and it was kind of overcomplicated.
It's over.
Yeah. Because you have different, like, boot types of boosting and, like, engine inputs, and if someone's using a, HODAS, they can set every axis of thrusters to very specific amounts of input. So then you need to, like, have very specific detection levels, so it just made
What
more
I'm gonna
sense.
do in the next build is, I just thought of it right now, on the right display, have the SLR light turn on when they're silent running, so you can, so even if you're not using pips, you can tell if they're running it or not that way.
Oh, I thought you were gonna
Running.
put a red light on the HUD that glows bright red when you're engaged in silent running, so it's...
Yeah, silent running is now an equipment,
That'd be
SLR.
nice.
So if you have that equipped, you
Yeah.
just turn it on when you want to go silent running and turn it off when you don't. And
This
it's
is basically one of the things I never use. Silent
Yeah.
running. It's like, this is too complicated.
It's one of the things where I thought about using, but it's like, I think I want more health.
It's like very tismy. I don't know. It's very tismy.
well, it's good if you want to sneak around or you want to use it as a counter against people using
Yeah,
the
but
targeting
that's-
computer.
It is not
Basically.
like actual stealth, so it's like, yeah, no.
Well, it's more like it's silent running. It's like a submarine. They don't go invisible. They just become harder to detect. Right?
Yeah. Unless they're dead in the water, in which case they probably are. Basically, you're invisible unless they get active sonar on them. But you'll never use active sonar, because if you use active sonar, everything with a passive sonar will then detect where you are, so submarine warfare is very complicated. It's really interesting. It was like a cool submarine game. I think it was Cold Waters. Where it's like...
Is Spirit Gum on the server?
Yeah, he's on this one.
What's up, Fernando?
Hey, Spirit Gum.
You got me interested in World War II planes, man. It popped up on my algorithm this morning. I started watching about P-47s.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I'm happy to hear that.
It
Yeah, like
reframes everything for me, and it's
yeah,
good.
yeah. Thank you. I'm glad you're watching it. Yeah, I mean, I was just talking to Drake. He's the guy that runs the HOTAS Reddit and HOTAS Discord, and he also likes to play World War II sims. And actually, I got him to start playing IL-2, which is the sim I used to play before I was too busy on my own sim to play other sims. But
Voxel still plays it.
yeah, and I got Boxol to play it too. So if you want to play a World War II simulator, in my opinion, the best one is IL-2 Sturmovik. It's a Russian one. I played the original one. They now have a sequel called IL-2 Sturmovik Battle of Stalingrad and the whole. But you can also find the original one, which goes all the way up from the beginning of the war to 1946, and it runs on any hardware and is super cheap. And that's the one I played the most. The newer one is more expensive. You have to you can buy individual planes, but it's got nicer graphics and more sophisticated flight model. But just World War II in general. I've read lots of books and spent a lot of times playing it. And to me, it's just a sweet spot in terms of accidental game design. Because real war and real combat wasn't designed for maximum fun, right? It's just a bunch of countries trying to destroy each other. And by a lucky coincidence, I always feel that World War II just happened to have, like, for air combat, at least for my personal taste, have like just the right sweet spot.
When you cut out the 16 hours of travel time.
Yeah,
And whatnot. And
travel time.
usually the resource management gets cut out.
Yeah, but like just the way the planes work, the distances at which the combat happened, all that just feels really good. You know, I play World War One. World War One's a little slower, so I mean it's fun too. World War Two is like the right, and then you know you get past World War Two or even late World War Two, the speeds get faster and faster, which means that the turning circles get bigger and bigger. You know, the targets get smaller and smaller, and it's not as visceral as when you can like get up real close and like really see the other guy. So, and the airplanes get more and more complicated, so you have to spend a lot more time learning, you know, the avionics rather than, you know, focusing on like those, you know, the pilots in World War II, most of them, you know, were civilians not that long ago, right? So they needed machines that were easy to learn and pick up. So it's my favorite era for sure for air combat. And then the Pacific War in particular is super exciting with the you know, the capital ships, like the aircraft carriers were just, it's such a nice element, you know, having this big mothership that you land on and in the middle of the ocean, and obviously so much of sci-fi obviously is inspired by World War II also. So to me, it's a great source of inspiration.
I like the feel of the tech in this game. It's kind of neat because I've been like just getting deeper and deeper, like slowly and slowly, like an incremental, like opening up the game and the options.
Yep.
Originally, I turned everything off and I was just shooting things, you know. But now I'm like figuring out the radar. And it's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's good that you got the radar on there. I mean, that's a good example. You know, when people say, "Oh, you're trying to make it like World War II," does that mean that? That can mean all sorts of different things. You know, there's some space games that literally have flight models that are airplane in space. You know, like Squadron's a perfect example. But that's not what I mean. It doesn't mean that, you know, these are still spaceships. They fly like spaceships that have 6 degrees of freedom. But, you know, take an element like in World War II air combat, it's really important to develop your situational awareness. And they would always say in like the training material for World War II pilots, they say, "Oh, you gotta develop rubber neck, son. Gotta have." And they would hand out, you know, playing cards, poker cards to the pilots, and those poker cards in the art would have silhouettes of like the enemy ships. This is what a 109 looks like. This is what a, you know, Fokker-Wulf 190 looks like. This is their silhouette. This is what friendly ships look like, what their silhouettes are, because, you know, they really had to use their eyeball because they didn't have even the more simple radar and scanner way than we had. They had no HUD whatsoever, no friendly markers, and so, you know, I take elements like that and then like reinterpret them in sort of a sci-fi feel, and then, you know, adjust them based on my, you know, the difficulty curve, the kind of like way I want to express them in the game. You know what I mean?
Stuck with this whole alarm going off now.
Oh, you got the whole alarm going on. Yeah. I was just watching a stream from before I switched to Gunman stream. I was watching Magichel, the French guy who you can see on the Discord screen right before this stream started. And he was racing and he had crashed and he was blinking and he was like, "Oh, I can't understand French, but you can tell." I'm like, he's probably saying, "Oh my God, how did I turn off this alarm?" So he then rammed himself and blew himself up completely. And then he was going to the alarm menu where you can turn off some of the alarms and looking for it there. I don't know, he should have just turned off the sound to 0 since he was just racing, but I'm definitely going to add an option to turn it off, but I didn't do it right away for what I said on the Discord. Like, I want people to, like, you know, use it at least a little bit, you know, and see, you know, and then see what happens, you know? It's like I have to kind of force them to get used to it, because otherwise human beings by their very nature would normally just turn things off, right?
I mean, that's how I started. I turned everything off, and now I'm slowly turning everything
Turn
on.
them on. Yeah, there's so the whole alarm cannot be turned off. Great.
Oh, I was just playing it.
Okay. Oh, you're playing it on the stream. You can play it.
Yeah. You can play all the alarms. It's really terrifying because I'm used to what the alarms mean.
Yeah, well, it's very useful.
Scares me.
The alarm doing. I mean, the whole alarm I think it's definitely useful in terms of keeping people alive and hopefully telling them that, hey, maybe you should sometimes retreat and sometimes repair, because a lot of new people, they fight every single fight to death. They overheat themselves to death. They don't pay out.
Alright, wanted to switch to the racing map so we can do some racing. I'll
right?
leave the AI
Tons
on
of
and
times.
stuff.
I had no idea what I was doing. I was just like, I'm just trying to kill everything, man.
Oh,
And the
actually,
funny thing is with the heat, there's a lot of feedback for heat. Like there's an alarm. There's like the lights turn red. The whole thing, it's you have a while before you actually take any heat. You have to have 100% heat and zero energy to take any hull damage. But in the combat is so visceral and there's so much going on that other than like a huge like 24 font banner in the center of the screen that said you are overheating and killing yourself, I think almost any form of feedback can be missed to a certain extent.
yeah. I like it when everything just like catches on fire, smokes, explodes. I like that overheating.
Yeah, we definitely want to do more like we the way it is right now, it's just low hanging fruit. It's easy enough to add an alarm, easy enough to have it blink red. But it'd be cool if we can have some some sparks or smoke.
It'd be even cooler if you could have permanent heat damage, like visual effects.
Even you cool down the visuals, yeah, that'd be cool. Like seeing parts of the inside of your ship.
Yeah, like anything
charred,
plastic is like
busted,
somewhat
melted.
like melted. Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be super cool.
Excuse me.
Flying Circus in HunterNet went. That was my that was my first org, the Flying Circus. Although now I'm a member of the Fighting Irish. That's my current org. But the one I started was the Flying Circus.
Yeah, the one I started, 400's IDK. It doesn't
IDK.
have a lot of members, but it
How
does.
come Renzo's in the game but he's not over here?
I don't know.
That's Renzo.
Just ask.
There's a-
Okay. Well, I'm gonna get back to work. I just decided to drop by and say hello, y'all. Since
Alright,
you were here.
thank
and I was watching
ya.
the thing.
Uh,
Oh, did you see that? Did you see that clip that I showed earlier where they were racing through the tunnel and then like turning backwards to shoot at each other?
Oh, I didn't see that one yet. I'll have to
Check
look
that out. That was pretty cool. That was Tarada and Magichel. They're racing, and then he spins, flies the race backwards, and they're like taking shots at each other with heavy cannons while racing. I thought it was pretty nuts. Well, which reminds me, one thing I was just talking to the startup team about is that we're preparing for hunternet.gg, the new website, to sort of like better explain the game to people who are new to it and existing people, like I taught during the Sunday playtest. And also getting the crowdfunding page ready. And for that, we want to collect really cool clips. And there's been tons of cool clips, like in your streams and other people's streams. But we're gonna post some sort of some guidance on clips in terms of settings, what kind of clips we're looking for, what duration, probably really short clips, like 10, 20-second clips, so we can put together a really cool montage. Yes. The one you sent me, Days, I have looked at. I haven't looked at it in depth. Where you were doing stuff you were flying around in spectator mode. Yeah, but that's a perfect example. Like, we're gonna come up with some guidance, and then I'll post a thing, an announcement, and ping everybody. But particularly, I want to find, I asked them, we need to figure out a way to like, what guidance can we give to increase the quality of the clips we get and the chances that we can actually use them, so they all have to be the same frames per second. And I think mainly we're gonna go for clips that just show really cool stuff, and especially stuff that is hard for us to record on our own. Like, any of us can go online and like
I've
take
lost
screenshots or record the AI, but it's hard for us to get those cool moments. Ooh, where there's multiple people.
Probably want to use the NVIDIA software, the Shadowplay, for it. That's the most common used, I think.
Yeah, they can use Shadowplay. That's what I use for my streaming.
I need an RO.
So you can say like recommended setting for making clips and all that stuff, but then like...
There we go, it's on now.
Yeah, I was thinking just minimum recommended. All the clips don't have to be recorded with the exact same settings.
No, you probably want it at least in 1280.
Yeah, we're gonna have minimum settings like 180p, 60 FPS, that kind of thing.
180p?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the standard. I mean, that's the standard resolution. That's what the videos are gonna probably be played at. So Steam only supports 180p
sure?
as far as I can tell, because I've uploaded videos at high resolution and they always get downgraded to 180p.
Probably because they're thumbnail.
But anyways, what do you think about the new the higher difficulty Black Corridor now.
Like, it doesn't feel that much different.
I thought it was a lot harder.
For me, it's well, I never memorized the course in the first place.
Do you like but there's obviously a lot more. There's a lot more stuff to fly through. Whereas before there was a lot more sections where there was not that much going on. Right, it's more jam packed than it used to be.
Yeah.
I need to. I don't know if I'll have time this week, but I'm going to do at least. There will be at least some racing related stuff in Sunday's build. But I've already found, even with this course, that I'm getting. The other course was simpler, so it's easier for me to find the next ring. But now sometimes I'm like, oh, am I going the right way, or did I accidentally go the wrong way? So try to get some guidance.
I was thinking it'd be
nice.
It'd be nice to have like some sort of training map for racing where it's a bunch of it's just a bunch of like only 3 ring courses in the same map, and they're just placed very specifically. It's like, okay, this is a hairpin ring, so you can practice doing hairpins. This is a power burn ring that are just a straightaway, so you can practice straightaway. Yeah. This is a straightaway followed by a hard bend, so you can practice how to take that. Like,
there was one question from someone here in the voice yesterday, I think, and he was asking for, is there a way to enable single player?
No, there's no way to enable single player.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm gonna be 100% focused on the multiplayer and keeping everything in one universe, like I said during the presentation. So like.
Yeah, but it was a newcomer who didn't.
Yeah.
So if you had a custom server, and the game supported that, and you could shard everything
off.
What
I was thinking in terms of like I've always thought it'd be cool if players can make their own content, and racing is probably the lowest hanging fruit. An idea I had a long time ago is like, if we allow people to make custom content, custom races would be the easiest thing to support, right? Just let people go to a location and place the rings wherever the heck they want them in whatever order they want them.
And the arrows.
And the arrows, the same thing. So that's an easy place to start. So if I talked to Amanda about it this morning even, but I don't talk about that I didn't talk about that during the presentation, because that's more of a nice to have and not something I want to be the focus of the conversation. You know what I mean?
I hope you have other types of conversation with your own wife as well.
Yes.
Doggo related
things other than just Hunternet.
It's possible for these rings to move around. Like, if you could make them more difficult, kind of like, so they move like left and right, or up and down.
Yeah, moving stuff.
And moving targets
is really cool. That's one of the things that is a 99% likelihood to be on the crowdfunding list, although I haven't finalized everything, is me working on the capital ship physics and getting them moving and stuff like that. And that when I do that work, I'm going to do it in a generic way that we can use it to move other stuff, whether it's a ring or an asteroid or whatever. It's one of the reasons I want to include it in the crowdfunding campaign, so I can work on some of the crowdfunding goals while working on some of like the core elements that aren't in the game yet. That has lots and lots of value, and that's an obvious one. Those are probably the 2 obvious ones: the adding physics to things other than the starfighters, and letting you be in multiple locations simultaneously. Those are like number 1, number 2 in terms of like low level stuff that needs to get done. And that opens up tons more gameplay. So, okay, guys, I'm gonna go back to work. But it was good catching you during the stream, Craze.
Yeah.
And good talking to you, Spirit, Phase, and Days, Renzo.
Take care.
Yeah, take care. I wish he was here so we can talk to him too. But
may he live.
Yeah.
I'll
talk to you guys later. Huh? Bye bye.
See ya.
I'll often say, but that guy deserves to live. He's just such a cool.
Just such a cool guy.
He gets to live.
So, still no doggo, Fernando.
Yeah.
God damn it.
Mm-hmm. Never gonna be a doggo. He's just using it as bait.
Yeah, he's baiting his own wife.
Mm-hmm. With doggo.
All these promises as a husband. Oh god.
All broken promises unfulfilled. Like the one about relaxing.
Yeah, it was all an excuse to start with.
Yeah. Like
Did
disturbing
you
lack
realize?
of
I
relax.
think so.
Like he doesn't
Don't
really
have, like,
he doesn't really relax because his idea of relaxing is he stops doing something and he's waiting for when the relaxing time's over to get back to not relaxing. So he's not really relaxed.
yeah.
Like relaxing means you're not thinking about not relaxing. You're supposed to like not be worried about when the time's up. That's why I hate taking breaks at work. Thinking about, oh, I gotta work at this time and stuff. That's why the
relax, man.
that's why the
Gotta
breaks
relax.
feel more insubstantial. It was way better when I was somewhat losing track of time, but not very badly. Then I was actually relaxed. Probably why El Jabo should probably be more about getting your work done versus being required to like work for an amount of time. It's like it should be more. As long as you get your work done, they couldn't care less what happened. As long as the work's done.
Efficiency, right?
Yeah.
Jeez. I don't understand why they have people going into their jobs if they don't need to.
Well, it's just because most jobs are on the hourly system. It's like they're seeing is like they're paying for you to like do something, even though
Right.
it's like a fixed amount of work.
But even salaried people are having to go in.
Oh yeah.
It's kind of
Oh yeah, because they want to get like their worth out of you, but
You just described the European way of working, boy. You have to do something.
But it's
you don't
mostly-
have to work to finish stuff. You just need to do something. That's it.
and it's also on the workers because often people will like. That's why working slow is like very popular because if you work slow, you can work more hours and get paid more for doing the same amount of work, just because you took longer, so you get paid more. In some cases, people do it like that.
Well, here you don't get actually paid more for working longer, unless you're doing over hours, but that's its own system. Like within the time frame, you have a fixed amount of wage you get, and that's it. You get no bonuses or. And that's why no one is incentivized to actually complete the work because it's like, I'm just paid by hour. That's it.
Like, if they made it work where it's like you're scheduled for 8 hours, as in you're allowed to come in, you have to come in at a certain time, but the time that you're expected to leave is like whatever it is. But if you get your work done, you're allowed to leave early. You wouldn't be able to stop people from trying to get work done fast, man.
Well, that's basically in the at the office buildings, all that stuff. They use that system. Like even my system where I work is like that, but it's still a fixed amount of time. It's like between this time zone and this time zone, you're allowed to start. And then between this time and this time, you're allowed to stop, and you can be flexible between those timelines.
Oh, I managed to get in the brain go.
But here it's like, yeah, if you work too hard, you will basically get your, you will burn your hands quite quickly here. Because this is not the mentality they have here at all. It's like, just work to get paid. That's it. And if you do more than that, you will instantly become a shooting disc by everyone. So.
You'd be a weirdo.
Oh yeah, here you are. If you work too hard, everyone is flaming on you straight on.
Yeah,
Because
they're,
you work too hard.
they're deeply Stop working hard. We won't be able to take. You're making us look bad.
Also, the weird behavior of managers and chiefs and all this stuff is like the ones that working the hardest are getting the punished the most as well when something goes wrong.
Oh, because they were the ones that would have done the work that was like because they did more work, they're more likely to be the reason it was crap.
Yeah, but
Technically.
Yeah, but not only that. If it's like if something goes wrong and you did too much, you are screwed.
Oh, I'd say that would be like the fact that because you're overworking yourself, that you're more likely to make mistakes is maybe what they're thinking. So they're just gonna blame you.
No, not on that sense. It's just like when something goes wrong, it costs the factory like this amount, and it's like, yeah,
Oh, yeah.
very
Well,
bad
I would say it'd be one of
reputation.
those two reasons is
More
why
of
they
their
do that.
viewpoint.
It's either because they
That's more of their viewpoint, because if you break something or something, it costs them money, and that's something they don't like at all. That's the main reason.
But we don't make any money. Nothing makes money.
Yeah, but we do make a lot of stuff. We produce like 30 million a year.
Sure.
so, so for that, if you use this tool and it breaks, yeah, everyone is upset about it because you broke it. That's how it works.
Like, why did you break it? It broke itself.
And then if it comes out you work too hard, it's like, yeah, you need to stop doing that shit.
It's like clearly your hard work broke it.
Yes. It's like we have this culture very incentivized of actually not working hard at all.
Yeah. Oh, well, here you have the other problem of you have work where it's like they always advertise it. This is fast-paced work, which means they're sweatshopping it. It's kind of, and that's like considered like to be a good thing, apparent. And that's how Amazon is. Like you go there to work 60 to 80 hours a week, and you die in the process and never come back. That's what happens. Very unfortunate.
And the difference between the breaks in America and the breaks in Europe is like, especially in Belgium and the Netherlands, it's like every second counts on the break. Like literally, that's the mentality we have. That's also why if the chief comes into the break and he wants to interrupt you or something, he will get flamed on like crazy. Like, no, it's a break, fuck off. It's literally that mentality they have. They have no mercy when the people are in their break. You do not interrupt them at all. That's how it works.
Just typing. Probably doesn't look as good. Alright. What do I want? I think I might be ready to call it this because there's no people looking for help. And I've had my fun. So I think I'll be ending my stream. I'll just be hanging out, basically. There we go.
So what is there? There's